Okay, class. This morning we're going to read Rock and Roll Home, and we're going to study a story map. I'll talk about characters and settings and plots in the story. I'm going to start out by reading Rock and Roll Home. Open your book and follow along with me. Rocky was living the good life. He lived underground in a cozy hole not far from May's Diner. May's Diner was Rocky's favorite restaurant. Rocky liked to sleep all day and rise by the light of the moon. Then he head straight to the alley behind May's and jumped into the big garbage bin. One night, Rocky started his dinner with a crust of new peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He followed that with some soggy broccoli. For dessert, he had some bites of apple pies. The garage truck made stops after stops. More and more garbage tumbled on top of Rocky. Then everything started to move. Rocky was dumped from the truck onto the mountains of the garbage. Rocky was at the town dump. There was the garbage in every direction. What luck, Rocky thought. This place has food from the finest restaurant. Look at Rocky. What does he look like? What's going on with Rocky right now?
He's getting dumped into the trash.
Yes, he left. He's not at May's Diner anymore because when he fell asleep, he woke up. He was in the back of the dumpster. Rocky ate and ate, and yet, after eating food from all the restaurants in town, he still misses the garbage at May's Diner. It was puzzling. Perhaps I just need to get used to the new food, Rocky told himself. After all, the newspapers say these are the finest restaurants in town. It's showing Rocky at the dumpster. He said now the food is not tasting good because he's missing May's Diner. But after a week, Rocky didn't feel any different. A tear came in his eyes. He began to remember it was Friday night. Every Friday, May's make her special franks and beans. Rocky hadn't missed a Friday meal from May's Diner in years. Rocky held his breath and tried to swallow some snails from a famous French restaurant. The snails tasted terrible. They were too hard, too. If only I could have the franks and beans from May's. Right then and there, Rocky made up his mind. I'm going back home. Follow along with me as I read it because you're going to be able to answer some questions at the end of the story. Just then, Rocky had an idea. A garbage truck took me here, and a garbage truck can take me home. Rocky ran over to the truck, parked in the lot. He sat on it and waited all night long. Early the next morning, a driver got in the garbage truck. Rocky jumped on it back as the truck pulled out of the dump. The truck made lots of stops along the way. Finally, it pulled up in a narrow alley behind May's Diner. Rocky jumped off the truck and ran to the garbage bin. He was sad to see the bin was empty. Oh well, Rocky said. I have to wait until tonight. Then Rocky smiled as he remembered that it was Saturday. Hamburgers on Saturday, he said. My favorite. So who was the character in the story?
Rocky.
Okay, we're going to work the worksheet together. So get your pencil. We're going to fill it in. The story map. Try to get what he said. Turn it this way. Okay. Who's our main character in the story? Derek. What was the setting?
The setting.
What's the setting, Derek? What's the setting mean?
It means like It's like it's a common word.
Can you help me out, Reese? What is the setting? What does it mean when I ask you what's the setting of the story?
Rocky ran up in the garbage truck.
Okay, setting. When I ask you what's the setting that, and what's the setting in the story, that means where the story happened, the place where the story happened. So the setting was at where?
In the
Where did
garbage.
Rocky go to have to eat?
The garbage.
The garbage. Where was the garbage at? And behind, and it was in the alley behind whose diner? What's the diner? What's the name of the diner?
What? Okay.
When I first started reading the story,
And then
where was Rocky?
in the behind
May's diner. So our setting is one of the places our setting was at is May's diner. And when he fell asleep and woke up in the dumpster truck, where did he end up at? That's the second setting.
In the trash.
In the trash, and then when the trash dumped him off, where did it dump him at?
In the garbage. In the garbage truck.
At the town dump. So our two settings is May's diner and town's dump. So that's where you have your settings at. What was one of the problems?
The problem was that Rocky was in a trash can and he got dumped into the garbage truck.
Okay, that was the first problem. Yes, he was in the garbage can and he fell asleep. He woke up. He was in the dumpster. Okay. What was one of the events that happened when Rocky was at the town's dump? He tried to get back to May's diner. What did he come up with? What idea did he come up with to try to get back to May's diner?
To get on the truck, so the man took him back.
Let's write that one down because it left a space for you to write that one. How did he get back to May's diner? What was one of the events that he did to get back to May's diner? What idea did he come up with when he say he got there on a dump truck? So in order to get back, what did he do?
He is playing all the garbage.
Okay, he come up with the plan where he waited the next morning. He said a dump truck dropped him off there, so a dump truck would pick him up. So what he did, came up with the idea to wait for the next dump truck. Even though he was there a whole week, he ended up waiting until the dump truck came. He jumped on the back of the dump truck, and the dump truck ended up taking him back to May's diner. He missed Friday night hamburgers, but when he got there, it was Saturday. What did they say his favorite food to eat on Saturday?
Apple pie, peanut and jelly.
Apple pie was on Fridays.
Broccoli.
Yes. So how did Rocky solve his problem? I want you to fill that in for me, Reese. Okay, Darius, good job. Doing a good job on that. Was this story a fact or fiction?
A fact.
What do you think, Reese? Was it fantasy? Okay, Derek, great job. Okay, this is the end of my lesson. I'm going to let the students continue filling out the worksheet.